Barack Obama called out President Trump over his coronavirus response, not mentioning all the problems he has with Obamagate. Meanwhile, the president blasted big tech companies like Facebook and Twitter for their anti-conservative bias. Is he right? And Nancy Pelosi pushes her big spending bill that sticks it to the American worker. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. We've got a lot to cover. We're going to start with President Trump and big tech because there are some serious questions out there, like, is big tech too big? Do these companies like Facebook and Twitter have too much control? Are they biased against conservatives? Do they have a right to censor conservative voices, conservative speech, conservative postings? Well, these kind of questions were likely on President Trump's mind this weekend when he tweeted this: "The radical left is in total command and control of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google. The administration is working to remedy this illegal situation. Stay tuned and send names and events." So this tweet was likely sparked by the fact that the DOJ is looking into these companies, seeing if they're too big, seeing if something needs to be done, if there's too much power consolidated. And here's that report. Trump's tweet comes just hours after reports that the Justice Department was drafting an antitrust lawsuit against Google. Politicians have long feared that Google and its peers like Facebook and Amazon have become too dominant in their industry. State attorneys general are reportedly working alongside the DOJ to draft similar lawsuits alleging that Google has violated antitrust laws. Texas AG Ken Paxton is leading the coalition of 51 AGs, according to Bloomberg. Google said in a statement to Bloomberg that it is participating in the ongoing investigations led by the Department of Justice and Attorney General Paxton, and will continue providing services that help consumers, support thousands of businesses, and enable increased choice and competition. So here's the deal, folks. It's not just this increased choice and competition. If you have a service, if you had a need, and there's a provider out there, and it happens to be the only one, the big one, but the price is fair and the service is good, you probably wouldn't complain. Most people wouldn't complain. The problem comes in that things aren't being done fairly, and everybody knows it. Facebook and Twitter, and they say, oh, we're not biased. But you look at their boards, you look at their leadership, they're all left-wing advocates. You look at these memos that have come out, blasting conservatives, meetings trying to get conservatives or get President Trump. We see the bias out there, and it's an example after example after example, and here's just one. YouTube removed a video of a prominent epidemiologist explaining his view that achieving herd immunity is the best way to combat the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. All right, so we've heard about videos like this. This example isn't the plandemic one that's been going around the internet, but this is from a scholarly guy. It's not fringe. It's not some nutcase. This is a guy well respected in the community that just happens to have a different opinion on what should be done about this ongoing coronavirus. And here's more. Dr. Nut M. Witkowski is a former head of biostatistics, epidemiology, and research design at Rockefeller University. But his contrarian take on tackling coronavirus was removed by the tech company for purported misinformation. A prominent advocate for the concept of herd immunity as being the only effective way, short of a vaccine, that society can fully return to normal life, Witkowski considers social distancing and lockdown measures to be unnecessary and even counterproductive. So, Dr. Witkowski met with a production company. They had this idea for a video, put it together, got it out on YouTube, and it just started going crazy. It went viral. It had over 1.3 million views, and then boom, YouTube comes in and says it violated their community standards. And here's more. With all respiratory diseases, the only thing that stops the disease is herd immunity, Witkowski reportedly said in the video. About 80% of the people need to have had contact with the virus, and the majority of them won't even have recognized that they were infected. I was just explaining what we had, Witkowski explained to the Post John Levine, adding he did not know why the video was taken down. They don't tell you. They just say it violates our community standards. There's no explanation for what those standards are or what standards it violated. Again, folks, this isn't fringe stuff. The things he's advocating are the things I've talked about since March. There's no reason we need to shut down everything, and I can go on, but you know where I stand on that. This is the same approach that was adopted by Sweden in combating coronavirus. They're doing fine. So different people can have different opinions. They can have different approaches. Yet what we see is if it doesn't fit the left-wing narrative, it's blocked. It is not put out there for the people. And we've seen this over and over again. Facebook is putting a Supreme Court together to be the ultimate judge of what is acceptable speech on the platform. This Supreme Court is loaded with left-wing advocates. They are the ones that are going to be determining what is acceptable speech and what is not acceptable speech. And it leads to a ton of questions, folks. Do they have the right to do this? Do these companies, these private companies, some are traded publicly, but the stock is still owned by Zuckerberg and a small portion of people that control it with these 10 times voting share blocks that they have that still give them the ultimate power to decide what they want to do in these companies. Do they have a right to censor conservatives? And what's our recourse? What are our options? There are other conservative media starting to spread. As you know, I've been on One America News. I've been on Newsmax TV. Fox dominates MSNBC and CNN. But the establishment media is still out there. Big tech is dominated by the left. So what are we going to do? I want to know what you think. So please leave your comments. Let me know, what can we do about these big tech companies? Should they be broken up? Do they have a right to censor our voices? Let me know what you think. So next I want to talk about Barack Obama. But first, hit that like button if you like the way the show's going. And please subscribe and hit that bell. We're really growing and we can get to our goals with your help. So hit that subscribe button. We'll keep going. We're going to talk about Barack Obama because he doesn't act like any traditional president. He has not ridden off into the sunset. He has not gone and just written books and given speeches. He's stayed active. And no presidents have ever done this in the point that they criticize their successor. Yet Barack Obama does that. That's where he deviates from all past presidents. And he's at it again. This time he was giving virtual commencement addresses over the weekend. And he gave one to a group of historically black colleges and universities. They're graduating seniors. And of course, in that setting, Barack Obama wouldn't be Obama unless he stoked racial tensions.
And let's be honest, a disease like this just spotlights the underlying inequalities and extra burdens that black communities have historically had to deal with in this country. We see it in the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 on our communities. Just as we see it when a black man goes for a jog and some folks feel like they can stop and question and shoot him if he doesn't submit to their questioning.
Yep, typical Obama. Then he goes on to talk about the revelations of the coronavirus outbreak.
More than anything, this pandemic has finally torn back the curtain on the idea that so many of the folks in charge know what they're doing. A lot of them aren't even pretending to be in charge.
So it's not your typical commencement address. And as I said, presidents in the past, they haven't done this. They haven't attacked their successors. They've gone out of their way to keep quiet because they've had their time. They've held the highest office in the land. They go on, they let the new president do his thing. Not Barack Obama. And it definitely got noticed by the media. Here's a report from Fox News. His remarks were unexpectedly political given the venue and touched on current events beyond the virus and its social and economic impacts. This election that's coming up on every level is so important because what we're going to be battling is not just a particular individual or political party. What we're fighting against is these long-term trends in which being selfish, being tribal, being divided, and seeing others as an enemy, that has become a stronger impulse in American life, he has said. The commencement remarks Saturday were the latest sign that Obama intends to play an increasingly active role in the upcoming election. Obama told supporters he would be spending as much time as necessary and campaigning as hard as he can for Joe Biden. And here's something even more lame. That wasn't the only commencement address. That was just one. He gave another one to, I guess, what he thought was more mainstream audience, toned down the racial tension portion that he had put in there. And here is how he addressed his anti-Trump coronavirus portion.
It's also pulled the curtain back on another hard truth, something that we all have to eventually accept once our childhood comes to an end. You know, all those adults that you used to think were in charge and knew what they were doing, turns out they don't have all the answers. A lot of them aren't even asking the right questions.
So why do that? Why give one speech to a predominantly black audience and a different speech to a more mixed audience? What is the motivation for doing that? Stoking racial tensions here, but not doing it over here. And it just makes you wonder what it is about Barack Obama. Here's my thing, all right? There's one thing that gets me more than anything, and that is I can't stand fake people. Just be sincere in your beliefs, your actions. Don't be fake. And everything about Obama is fake and political, and whatever audience he's in, that's what he's trying to do. And when I looked at these two videos, it's just remarkable that this is, I guess in his house, he's done other videos like this, yet his bookshelf, he changes it for every setting, and it's not even real. It's like they think about this, oh, let's add this and this. Here is his backdrop. Here's a screenshot I want to show you from the speech to the general graduating seniors. So when he gave this speech, you see there's more of this bare bookshelves. You see nice things like a candle and flowers in a pot. On the left side of the screen, you see that framed picture by his shoulder. Then, when he's speaking to the group from historically black colleges and universities, in his own room, he changes things up. He thinks that things need to be changed, and let's put this picture up there. So you see there's more books on the shelf directly behind him. The candle is gone. The flowers are gone. In that frame picture, it's moved to the shelf above it, and a basketball is inserted in its place. So what's that? What is the whole idea? What's the motivation there that says, I'm talking to historically black colleges and universities, I better throw a basketball in there? Or if the basketball is normally there, then I'm going to go talk to this other audience, I better take that out and put a candle and flowers. It's just so fake, and you just see it with the backdrop. That just really epitomizes Barack Obama taking his shots, stoking racial tensions, but then trying to play the nicer guy somewhere else. It's just completely lame, and I want to know what you think about it, what you think about these two different settings. Let me know in the comments. So next we're going to talk about Nancy Pelosi. But first we wanted to hear from our friends over at Bottle Breacher. Folks, you need to check them out. These are great guys. Eli Crane is an awesome dude, veteran-owned company, and it has the best stuff in man gifts, promotional items, groomsmen gifts. Just go to bottlebreacher.com, use coupon code Bobby13, you'll get 15% off your next purchase. All right, we're going to talk about Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats because they're pushing this big $3 trillion spending bill, and not only that, they're looking to totally undo the way Congress has done business since there was a Congress. So here's an update on the spending bill. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's HEROES Act would end the cap on a little-known SALT tax deduction that has been strictly limited by President Trump, offering the top 1% in coastal states like New York, Massachusetts, and California a huge tax break. Likewise, Pelosi's HEROES Act would provide businesses with a never-ending flood of cheap, illegal foreign labor that they would be legally allowed to hire over the roughly 36.5 million Americans who are jobless due to the crisis. So, not only does this bill target left-leaning states, Pelosi's buddies, but she also makes it easier for them to hire illegals over American workers who are out of jobs. Here's more. The provisions would suspend the Department of Labor's ability to prosecute any employer hiring illegal aliens and visa overstayers. A separate provision would drive up foreign competition against unemployed Americans by allowing illegal aliens taking essential U.S. jobs to receive work authorization. So that's the spending bill. But then there's also this push, what the Democrats did to change the way Congress votes. As you know, the Senate has been coming back to work, but Nancy Pelosi has been keeping the House away, saying it's too dangerous. So instead, she wants to have remote voting and proxy voting so that a few select people could be there and vote for up to 10 other people. So GOP leader Kevin McCarthy blasted not only the bill, but this approach that Nancy Pelosi wants to do.
And now she wants to write a bill privately, not allow Congress back into the Capitol. You go to Starbucks and get a tea. You go over to the Senate and see them working, but not the Capitol, not the House. Why? Because Nancy wants to write this in private and try to put it on the floor and change 200 years of history on how people vote for the bill, just so she could have 200 votes in her pocket by a proxy and pass something that never had one hearing, never had any input, and has no accountability.
So it's just crazy. Kevin McCarthy's right, and here's more from the Washington Examiner. The House has required in-person voting since the body first convened in 1789. But Democrats say the coronavirus makes it too dangerous for the House to operate in person and is about to pass a major change that will allow proxy voting and remote committee business that will include virtual votes to advance legislation. One lawmaker will be able to vote on the House floor for up to 10 absent lawmakers who provide direct instructions on how they wish to vote. It's just crazy, folks, but that's the House under Democrat control. So, folks, that's our show for today. Please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching, and before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified, and here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-minute news hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.